This story comes from court records and verified reporting. People are shown as illustrations.
A grandmother stands at a Miami airport gate, holding a one-way ticket to Vietnam. She's 73, and she's running from a murder.
Days earlier, a jury convicted her son in the killing of her former son-in-law. Now she's here, boarding pass in hand. What she doesn't know: an FBI agent is standing in this terminal, watching her. He has no plans to let that plane leave with her on it. Her name is Donna Adelson. And to understand how a grandmother ends up here, you have to go back 9 years, to a garage in Tallahassee, Florida. Dan Markel was a law professor at Florida State University and the father of 2 young boys. He had married Wendy Adelson. Her parents, Donna and Harvey, and her brother Charlie lived hours away in South Florida. It looked like the good life. 2 sons, a quiet Tallahassee neighborhood called Benton Hills, and a house with a garage. Then the marriage fell apart, and the divorce became a war. Not over money, over the boys. Wendy wanted to move the children to South Florida, closer to her family. A court said no. The boys would stay in Tallahassee, near their father. Wendy would later testify that her mother was furious with Dan, and that Donna said, quote, ugly things about him. By Donna's own words, Wendy was living in Tallahassee as, quote, a hostage and a prisoner. Wendy confirmed it under oath. And then there's the joke. After the divorce, Charlie gave his sister a television as a divorce present because, he said, it was cheaper than hiring a hitman. Every family jokes. Most of those jokes don't end up read into a murder trial. Because on a summer morning in 2014, someone put a price on Dan Markel's life and paid it in full. July 16th, 2014. 2 cell phones leave Miami, heading north toward Tallahassee. Inside a rented Toyota Prius, Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera. They spend 2 nights in motels, shadowing Dan Markel's life, his neighborhood, his gym, and wait. Friday, July 18th. Just before 9 a.m., Dan drops his boys at preschool, then heads to the gym. The Prius pulls in at the same time. He works out, checks nothing, suspects nothing. Outside in the parking lot, a pale Prius sits waiting. 2 men inside. Dan drives home to Trescott Drive, pulls into his garage, and shifts into park. At 11:02 a.m., a call reaches Tallahassee police. A neighbor heard a loud bang and saw a light-colored Prius backing out of Dan's driveway. Officers find Dan slumped over in the driver's seat, the garage doors still open. He'd been shot twice through the driver's window, once in the forehead, once in the cheek. He's rushed to a Tallahassee hospital. By early the next morning, Dan Markel is gone. 2 little boys lose their father, and all police have is a neighbor's glimpse of a Prius. It takes investigators nearly 2 years to trace that car back to Miami. What they find cracks the case wide open. Phone records and the rental car lead detectives to 2 Miami men, Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera. In 2016, both are arrested. One of them cuts a deal. Luis Rivera pleads to second-degree murder, 19 years, in exchange for telling prosecutors everything. He describes a photo of Dan Markel on a piece of paper, and Garcia's words on the drive, quote, "We were going to have to kill the man for some kids." The price on Dan's life? $100,000. Rivera's share? $35,000. Those words pointed straight at a custody war, and at the family that had just lost it. Detectives traced the money's path through a woman named Catherine Magbanua, the link between the gunman's world and the Adelsons. And after the murder, something strange appears in the paperwork. Magbanua starts collecting paychecks from the Adelson family's dental practice, a practice she never worked at. Prosecutors said the checks weren't salary. They were murder money, washed through a family business. A former girlfriend of Charlie Adelson testified about cash at his home. Bundles of $100 bills stapled together. Rivera said the hit money came the same way. Stapled, because nothing says clean money like office supplies holding it together. Investigators believed they knew who ordered this. Proving it was the problem. So rewind to April 2016, before the arrests, when the FBI ran a play out of a spy movie. Remember the grandmother at the airport gate? This is the moment the FBI began building the case that put her there. Miami Beach. Donna Adelson steps out near her condo, and a stranger walks straight up to her on the sidewalk. He hands her a printed article about Dan Markel's murder. Written on it, a phone number, and $5,000. The man claims he's connected to Luis Rivera. His message? The other two are being taken care of. Rivera isn't. He needs the same treatment. The stranger is an undercover FBI agent. Every word of it is scripted. The Bureau calls it a bump. An undercover FBI agent explained the point. You, quote, tickle the wire. Then you listen to who calls whom. Because Donna's phones are already tapped. An innocent person calls the police. So, who does Donna call? Within minutes, her son Charlie. Not the police, not a lawyer, Charlie. She tells him someone hand-delivered, quote, some paperwork. She wants to talk in person. And she tells him to bring cash. Charlie's reply caught on the wiretap. He asks his mother if someone is blackmailing her. The next day, Charlie sits down with Catherine Magbanua at a restaurant called Dolce Vita. An FBI agent is 10 feet away. The Bureau records it all. On the enhanced audio, the two talk in code about, quote, the problem, debating whether the stranger was a blackmailer or a cop. Recordings later described simply as damning. Innocent people are boring on wiretaps. This family was many things. Boring wasn't one. The FBI now had voices on tape, but not enough to make arrests. For 6 more years, the Adelsons stayed free. Then, the dominoes started to fall. October 2019. A jury convicts Sigfredo Garcia, the shooter, of first-degree murder. Life in prison. 2022. Catherine Magbanua, convicted on every count. Life, plus decades more. That same year, agents finally come for Charlie Adelson. In November 2023, a jury convicts him of murder. Life. Only one man fired the shots, but 4 more people were charged with murder. Because in Florida, arranging and paying for a killing counts the same as doing it. And prosecutors believed one person sat at the top, the matriarch. The one who, they argued, helped plan the hit and move the money. Donna. While Charlie waited for trial, mother and son kept talking, on recorded jail lines, in code. On one call, Donna talks about hopping on a one-way flight to a country with no extradition, somewhere American courts couldn't touch her. Days after Charlie's guilty verdict, she had the ticket in hand. One way. Round trips are for people who plan on coming back. November 13th, 2023. Donna and Harvey Adelson stand at Miami International with one-way tickets to Vietnam. Her visa is valid for entry starting that exact day. FBI Special Agent Patrick Sanford is already in the terminal, watching her prepare to board. That Monday night, agents move in. Donna Adelson, 73, is arrested at the airport. A grand jury indicts her 2 days later. At her bond hearing, prosecutors describe a note she had written, instructions for her family, estate planning, a trust for the grandchildren, and, according to prosecutors, plans to take her own life rather than face what was coming. Written like a woman who was never coming back, one way or another. 21 months later, in a Tallahassee courtroom, the state called its witnesses, and one of them was Donna's own daughter. August 2025, Leon County Circuit Court, Judge Stephen Everett presiding. Donna Adelson, now 75, on trial for first-degree murder, conspiracy, and solicitation. The state calls Luis Rivera. Jailhouse informants, dental office staff, and then a witness nobody could look away from. Wendy Adelson, Donna's daughter, Dan's ex-wife, the mother of his boys. testifying against her own mother. She testifies for hours. She tells the jury, quote, "I was not involved in any plot to kill Danny." But she confirms the divorce present joke, the television that was, quote, cheaper than hiring a hitman. Her brother's joke is now trial evidence. She confirms her mother's anger, the ugly things said about Dan. But she tells the jury she never heard anyone call for harm. Most families work things out over Thanksgiving dinner. This one did it under oath. Then prosecutors press play. The courtroom hears Donna and Charlie speaking in code on a recorded jail line. Here's the talk of flying beyond extradition. Court TV's cameras catch the defense table. As her own voice fills the room, Donna Adelson visibly shakes. When the judge asks if she'll testify, she answers, quote, "I haven't decided. This decision affects the rest of my life." She never takes the stand. The jury never hears her explain a single recording. Her defense hammers one theme: no direct evidence. No proof, they argue, that Donna intended Dan's death. No proof she planned it or paid for it. Others did the killing. 11 years after the murder, the case goes to the jury. Dan's parents have waited more than a decade for this. They only have to wait 3 more hours. Just over 3 hours of deliberation for a case that took 11 years to build. Guilty of first-degree murder. Guilty of conspiracy. Guilty of solicitation. On every single count. After the verdict, Dan's mother Ruth didn't soften it. She called Donna, quote, the curse. Dan's father Phil addressed, quote, the Adelson family, Harvey, Charlie, Wendy, and particularly Donna. He spoke of, quote, deep and irreparable damage, pain that is, quote, obvious and permanent. Then he closed with a single question for Donna, quote, was it worth it? October 13th, 2025, sentencing day. Given the chance to speak, Donna Adelson still denies everything. She calls the man she was convicted of having murdered a, quote, fine and decent man, a, quote, caring and loving father. Her husband Harvey goes further, accusing Dan's grieving parents of telling, quote, lies to the court about our grandchildren. Ruth Markel's written reply cuts to the bone. Donna's tears were, quote, not remorse for Danny's death, but sorrow for the consequences she now faces for causing it. Judge Stephen Everett sentences Donna Adelson to life in prison without parole. She is 75 years old. And the boys this was supposedly all for? Dan's parents say they were cut off from their grandsons for roughly 6 years. Wendy Adelson has never been charged with any crime. She denies any involvement in Dan's death. Donna booked a one-way trip. The state of Florida honored it. It started with a judge keeping 2 boys near their father. It ended with 5 convictions and 2 boys who lost their father anyway. A jury decided that the grandmother of his own children treated his life as a problem that money could solve. The family that had everything traded all of it away. Which leaves only Phil Markel's question, still hanging in that courtroom. Was it worth it? So, did the jury get it right? And what would you have done the moment that stranger handed you the article? Tell me in the comments. Until next time, be careful who you trust, and take care of yourself.